Hi everyone and welcome to Poppy DIY Crafts. Today we're going to be making some really cute dragons. So these are molds that I got from Resin and they are so cute. Oh my goodness. So I don't know if you can see them here. So this is part of the See No Evil, Speak No Evil, Hear No Evil set. So these are all dragons and this one here is covering his ears. This next one here is covering his mouth or his snout. And we also have our third one here that is covering its eyes. So these are rather big. They stand at about 4 inches tall and let's see, about 2.5 inches across. So these would be really good for display. What I'm planning to do today is to fill these dragons up with some flakes. I have 3 colored flakes. I have rose gold, silver, and gold. 1 for each dragon. In addition, I'm going to attempt to add a few swirls of color. And so what I'm going to do is mix some ocean white with some alcohol inks. And I have assorted alcohol inks here in blue, pink, and green. And then I'm going to just swirl some colors inside. So hopefully that works out. And today I am using a black mat. I had gotten some comments before where it was really hard to see in my videos because the mold is white and most of the time the resin is clear. So that makes it really hard to see on camera. So today I'm using a black silicone mat. So hopefully this video will turn out better. The resin I'm going to be using is the Resin epoxy resin. And if you're interested in making this project for yourself, everything that I'm using will be linked down below in the description. And one other thing I wanted to show you is my previous video I did make a dragon egg and it turned out beautiful. This one I painted the mold with some mica powder and as you can see it turned out super pretty. The only thing about this egg is that even though it's pretty big, the dragons actually do not fit inside it because I thought it would be really cute if the dragons fit inside it. But this lid is actually solid, so our dragon is too big. However, we can put the dragon inside the open egg. So I thought that would be really cute too. So if we have 3 of these eggs, we can put a dragon into each of these. Otherwise, these are really great as jars and super beautiful. Alright, so I'm not really sure how much resin I'm going to use. I'm going to try to keep track and then I'll put it down in the description after the video down below so that you'll know how much resin you need for each of these dragons. For right now, I have this big bowl, so this big silicone mold, and I'm just going to make as much resin as I can. So I'm going to make maybe 500. I don't want to make it too high up or it'll be hard to stir. And then I'm going to pour them into individual cups here to mix in the flakes. And as always, when you're working with epoxy resin, make sure to wear protective gloves and also be in a well-ventilated room. These resins are pretty safe, however, it's still better to have lots of ventilation. So sometimes the problem with mixing this large amount of resin is it might flash cure. So hopefully that does not happen with us. I'm not actually sure how to prevent that. And I've only had it happen to me a few times. So it's not something that happens all the time, but it can happen. And I'm going to be using my resin mixer. This is so useful, especially when you have this much resin. Now let's separate them into individual cups. Let's start with 6 ounces. So this one only has 5 ounces. So I'm going to even it out a little bit. So this will just make it so that each one is a little bit under 6 ounces. Okay, I'm going to add the flakes. So what I learned with these flakes is that a little bit goes a long way. And these flakes are super thin so it can get kind of messy. Here's the rose gold. And finally the gold. And as you can see, I really like the gold, so I've used quite a lot. Just mix it in. And if they're too clumpy, you can actually break them up by kind of smashing them to the sides and just break it up. Alright, now we're ready to pour our resin into the mold. So we have to flip this dragon upside down, and as you can see there's some support pillars here so that it stands on its own. And I want to start by pouring just a little bit in so that we can fill in the ear crevices. Don't want any air bubbles in the ears. I'm going to take this and just kind of like mash it in. And you can see bubbles here, you can squeeze it out. Okay. Do the same here. Just give it a gentle stir to make sure if there are any bubbles, it has a chance to escape before we fill it up. And so I have 1 ounce left. So that means each, or at least this first dragon, takes about 5 ounces of resin. Here's our next one. Okay, checking for bubbles. The bubbles tend to stick to the sides. So what I like to do is just take my stick and just kind of run it along the sides. So if there are any bubbles stuck on the sides, we can knock it loose. And this one also has 1 ounce left. So this dragon also took 5 ounces of resin. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared he's gonna tip over. Okay, our last dragon. This is gonna be the rose gold one. Be careful of the tail here. Lots of bubbles hiding in the tail. Okay, so each dragon takes 5 ounces of resin. Alright, now for the colors. So with the colors, I'm going to use the leftover resin. I'm not going to make a new batch since we do have a lot of leftovers. And what I'm going to do is mix it with some white and some colors. So this is the Let's Resin Ocean White. So this white is very thick. It's actually an epoxy resin pigment. You'll see in a moment here that this is very thick. So what I'm trying to create here is some colors that are very viscous, very thick, and swirl that into the dragon. So as you can see here, there's swirls. So I'm trying to mimic that, but with colors. And I'm not sure if it's gonna work out or not. That's the nice thing about resin, is that you can always experiment and then adjust it for the next time. So now some alcohol ink. And hopefully these work out as dragon colors. And I am trying to work fast because it's actually quite warm in my room. And so I'm kind of afraid that the resin is going to cure too fast and I won't be able to get these colors in. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is use these longer skewers and coat my stick with it. That way it has a longer reach. I'm going to make this nice and thick. It's going to be as long as the dragon, so about 4 inches. And then we're just going to dip it in there and swirl. And do some pink. This one I'm just doing 2 inches. So a quick dip and out. Next, I'm going to do green. And here we're going to do blue. Now we're just adding in more colors. Alright, now that we made a big mess, let's go ahead and set these dragons aside for 24 hours to cure. Alright everyone, so it's been a day and we're now ready to demold. So I can't wait to see what these look like. So here's the one covering the eyes. Just loosening it up, letting the air bubbles in. And I find that the best way to demold is really to just roll the silicone off. So this is actually really hard to take off. So it's a good thing we waited 24 hours before demolding, because if the resin was still soft, then we would be deforming the dragon. And this silicone is actually really strong. So I'm pulling pretty hard, but it's not torn. Here it is. inside out, but we can flip it back through. So it's ready again. And here is our dragon. Oh my goodness. So we can see some transparency, we see the gold flakes, and we see a bit of the colors swirled inside. I think this actually looks really good. What do you guys think? The spine came out really good. Now for the next one, this one has the ears covered. And here is our second dragon. Oh, this one turned out really pretty too. So I'm seeing a lot of blue, but not a lot of the green or the teal. But I do see the blue and the pink, and of course the flakes. And here's our last one. Super, super cute. I love these little horns up here. So the next thing I want to do with these dragons is, because since they are very transparent, you can't really see a lot of the details. So I'm going to be using my Let's Resin chrome markers and add in some highlights. So here on the spine and maybe here on the horns, we're going to color them. Okay, so here is our first dragon in gold. Now let's do the same with the other two dragons. Alright everyone, so we are done coloring in our dragons, and I just want to show you how beautiful it turned out. So I really only added the paint to kind of the peaks of the dragon, so the tips of the ears, the horns, the spine, or the spikes on the spine, the wings, and also here on the chest. So on the scale here, so that you can see some more of the definition. And I think they turned out really, really cute. So here is the gold one covering its eyes. Here is the silver one with the silver eyes. You can see that. And this one is covering its mouth. And we have this kind of rose gold one, or the bronze one, covering its ears. And this turned out so, so cute. You can really see through it. You can see the little swirls of color inside. I really like this green one too. And they're all kind of a different shade. So for these dragons, instead of making them transparent like I did, you can also paint them. So this is what it looks like when you paint them with mica powder. It actually turns out really nice too, and you can see a lot more of the definitions, especially here on the scales. But I think this method is also super cute. There's actually quite a lot of colors in there, and you can see it when you're up close. So if you look at the arms here, you can see the swirls of pink and the little flakes inside, and here you can see they're kind of like clouds. So this turned out super, super cute. And the nice thing about the flakes that's different from glitter is that glitter tends to sink, but these flakes don't. So these flakes are kind of scattered throughout the body, whereas if I had used glitter, I think most of it would have ended up on top of the head. So one thing that I did notice about these dragons is that it is very hard to avoid bubbles on the spine. So a lot of these spine pieces on the tail here has little gaps. So I think next time if I were to use this mold, what I would do is actually pour the resin into the spine pieces here just a tiny bit and coat it, and make sure I go in with a toothpick to kind of remove all these bubbles. So each one of these spines, there's a little piece missing here and here. Not too many, but it is something that you want to be careful about with this mold, just because there are lots of crevices. However, the rest of the dragon looks really good. The face looks very good. I don't see any bubbles here at all. So it's really just the spine. So when you look at the spine, there's just a lot of room for the bubbles to end up on. There's our silver one. This is so cute. And once again, if you also have the egg, the dragon doesn't really fit in the egg with it closed. You can, however, have it sitting inside. So it can sit inside the egg. We just can't close it. But I think that would be really cute too. So we can actually make 3 of these eggs, put all these dragons in there, and kind of display them this way. What do you think? Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you some ideas of what you can do with this set of mold. I think you can do quite a lot, and they're so pretty. And as you can see, they're really big and perfect for display. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye!